story, पोएम द रोड नॉट टेकन को लेकर यहाँ उपस्थित हुआ हूँ। द रोड नॉट टेकन इज अ पोएम written by Robert Frost. Robert Frost is not the a writer of any explanation. He is the great American writer. He was born in America in the year 1874 in San Francisco, and the poem Road Not Taken is written in 1915, and it was it was published in that year. As we know that Robert Frost was a well-known poet. We have studied his poem, many poem in which I like his poem Stopping by Woods in the Snowy Evening. When I was a student of intermediate, it was around 2021, 2001. We studied the poem well. The last four line of the poem is a very interesting, very, outstanding, because in last four line he has written, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promised to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Dear students, as you know that Robert Frost was the poet, has written the situations. He is, a struggling man, and he has written life is not given us for entertainment only, but he compared the life with entire, with entire situations of problem and others. So he has written Stopping Voyage and Snowy Evening, and we studied the poem very well. And the most important thing about the poem is that the poem was studied by the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, when he was dead. The last four lines we have just discussed in front of the camera. Last four line has been studied by the poet and the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Nehru. But the road not taken. We will not take sufficient time here, but also introduce the poem in minutes. The road not taken. The road not taken is also a very interesting poem that was, as usual we discussed here, was published in 1915 as a very good type of poem. I mean, poet is the narrator of this poem. He is himself the narrator in the poem. The first line is started with a line: the two roads diverge into the yellow woods. I mean, here the poet wants to discuss there are two ways which has been gone to the through the yellow woods. I mean, the it wood means the forest where the two paths have been framed. Two paths have been framed here. One path is very sophisticated, where the huge number of people also walk on that road, and the modern generation and generation after generation was just moving on that path. The poet want to say, actually he want to say that we should select some other path in our life, and we shouldn't move on the path where huge number of people move. If we move, then I don't have any idea, we are ridiculous idea if we would like to move on the same path where a number of people move. So poet was in dilemma of the situation when the two path has been started. He was on the spot where two paths have been started, where the poet decided to move on that path where the path has been less driven. I mean, no one has walked through the path. So poet at the last he has decided to move on that path, and he moved on that path. And in the way to the path, he was just thinking that when we reach the half of the path, and the if due to the difficulties and problem and breakers of the past path, If we quit and if we back to choose the another path, I mean, your time will be taken double. If you take some effort, I mean, you can achieve the path very well. So poet decided to choose the alternate path, and he through the poem advises us to move on, to make a particular aim and to move on that path of their own interest. We shouldn't move on the path where huge number of people has travel, as we discussed here. The He was being influenced, and I can also appreciate about some other poet. He was being influenced by William Wordsworth. No doubt he is the scholar. And the topic of William Wordsworth, we will discuss so many things about William Wordsworth, a poet of Romanticism of the first generation. And he is also being influenced by another poet, John Keats. John Keats is the also the poet of second generation of Romanticism, and he is most learned poet, and he's also regarded as the poet of sensuousness. Again, he was deeply admired with W.B. Yeats, Ezra Pounds, and as we know that Robert Frost was educated in Harvard University in 1897, from 1897 to 1899. He has achieved various awards, Pulitzer Award for poetry, Robert Frost Model. He has also achieved Robert Frost a medal. So the main theme of the poem is making the right decision at the right time. Some themes may be life decision, regrets, and uncertainty, poetic device, metaphor. The whole poem is extended metaphor, and road acts as metaphor for life. A rhyme scheme should be A B, A A, and B. Poetic device like alliteration, rhyme, allusion have been used. Uh, so thank you, friends. We will meet you again with the next video. Bye bye. Good night.